Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and today I want to talk a little bit about the signs and synchronicities that remind us or even connect us with our deceased animals. And that's ahead of my radio show this afternoon with more information and more stories about how our animals reincarnate and sometimes find their way back to us. So, again, welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and a certified past life regression specialist, and I'm based in Seattle, Washington. I'm really thrilled to host the Om Times radio show on Mondays at 2 Pacific time. It's the practical, intuitive mind, body, spirit for the real world. And this afternoon, we're talking again about reincarnation in our animal family. So, hello, everybody. Thanks for chiming in here. You're welcome to say hello to everybody here. This is a community. It's created here for you and for us to share things together. So, if you've received a sign or a symbol or something that reminds you of a deceased animal and you're wondering about it, you're welcome to share it here today. But let's first get started with a quick meditation with the crystal Fallon. Fallon is citrine Lemurian quartz. He's an ancient power healer. It's not his fault he got carved into the shape of a crystal ball. That only happened about 10 years ago. But connect with Fallon in the way your intuition works most strongly. So see pictures, hear him chat, feel his energy, or simply know that you're connected with him. And as you connect with him briefly here, and he'll be connected with all of us throughout this broadcast today, just think a little bit about your deceased animals. And if you're not an animal person, you don't have animals in your life, think about those you've loved and lost. And first, take your attention to the top of your head. And just imagine we're connecting mind, body, and spirit more tightly together. And as you breathe down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just release the cares of the day so that you can free yourself up to be here in community with all of us all over the world today. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And now just reverse that process. And as you move up from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, you are most welcome to invite Fallon's healing energy to fill you up today, to make you feel refreshed and renewed. For at least for those of us in North America, the first day of the week, it's Monday morning here in Seattle. Breathing up from your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, and the top of your head. So what about signs and synchronicities from our beloveds? I publicly shared the loss of my animals over the years, and as a result, that's why I hear from people who've lost their own animals. And one of the themes that keeps popping up in those correspondences, whether by email or tagging me on Facebook, is people have things that happen, little signs that they think they've received from their dead animals, and yet they doubt them. Okay, and so they asked me, is it okay to believe in this sign and symbol? And I say, if a story eases your grief, that's wonderful. If it gives you hope for a happy future without your animals, that you can move forward without them, remembering them and remembering them with love in your heart and not blocking yourself so that you can open yourself to more love, hi to the Space Needle. That's cool. It's actually one of the things in Seattle I cringe about, but welcome to Seattle, right? So if it helps ease your grief, that's great. If you get a sign that confirms your love for your animal family and your belief in the human-animal bond, that's great too. I do urge people to be careful about signs and synchronicities, because sometimes we'll use it as a crutch, that we feel that if we don't get a sign from a beloved deceased animal or deceased human, that there's something wrong, that they're not okay, that maybe they didn't love us, that, we just get ourselves wrapped around things. And, that's not healthy for us. And it's not even true. So avoid depending on a sign or symbol and then thinking that if it doesn't show up for you, it's a crutch, and it avoids us making up our own minds about how we feel, because we know we miss our animals. And we do know that when they die, because they have shorter lifespans than us, that of course they think about us in the process, and they do think about us in the afterlife. And I know that because I work as a medium. But don't hold yourself back, as some people tell me they do, from believing that a sign can happen, that we can get a symbol or something will show up that will help us remember our beloveds and maybe even laugh, because they're good for us. They can help us resolve our difficulties. They can help us resolve grief. They can remind us that we did have that relationship. And while that relationship is over, in the sense that the physical body is gone, our souls are always connected to our beloveds. Ask away your questions here and share your synchronicities here. And I will try to move my monitor up so that I can see those. And this is your place to ask questions and my place to eventually learn how this works here. So, yes, ask your questions. Also, a sign or synchronicity is a wonderful way, if it occurs and if you notice it, to remind us in the midst of our devastation that love is always with us, even if the physical body is not. And that's an important thing. So here's an example. And I thought about it again this weekend, and I posted this blog post on Facebook, so you can go to my business page, Robin M. Fritz. I'll tell you, Elizabeth, and see that article. But sometimes what people think is they need a sign from a beloved dead. Now, we're talking today about animals because my show this afternoon is about reincarnation and animals. But they're wondering if something that they saw is a sign from their beloved that they're okay. Can we get a sign from our beloved that are okay? And sometimes people grieve because they don't get a sign, and other times they question them. So here's a woman who emailed me, and she was devastated over the loss of her dog. And she couldn't get past the loss of her dog, and she was wondering if her deceased dog was okay. And then she said later that afternoon there was a thunderstorm. And after the thunderstorm was over, she saw a rainbow. And then right after that, she saw this chunky white cloud in the shape of a heart. And she took that as a sign that her dog was okay, and it made her feel better. And she said, was that a cliche? Am I just kidding myself? And the answer to that is no. If you see something that reminds you of a beloved and it eases your grief, then that's what it was for. And that's what its role for you is in your life. And you can take that and go like, wow, isn't that awesome? And I feel so much better now knowing that I saw that sign. And yes, we are hesitant. Okay, I'm trying to see the comments, but it's not letting me scroll. So if I don't get to your questions, I will try to go back into this and answer the questions in the feed later this afternoon, because for some reason it's not showing me all the comments here. Oh, here we go. So let me give you one more sign and symbol, and then I'll get to the questions, and then we'll do a crystal of the week. So you're wondering, what I do regular mediumship sessions, and one time a family was sitting here, and their sisters, and their deceased sister said she'd send them a white feather to prove to them that she was with them during the session. And I'm like, oh my God, what a cliche. And I didn't say that out loud, But they were rolling their eyes and they're like, oh my gosh, that's a normal thing you would expect somebody to say. But what happened was, is they walked away from my office, a white feather fell out of the sky onto the sidewalk. Is that a sign? Well, it made them feel better and it made them laugh. And do they happen? Of course they do. And then sometimes we see meaning in things that occur around us, and that's fine too. So let me tell you my own personal story. And it happened 6 years ago. In March of 2012, my beloved Cavalier Murphy Brown died of cancer. And in June, I was on my way back east to grieve really with my best friend. And as the plane was taking off from Seattle, I looked up into the sky and the clouds literally formed into the shape of a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel running. I mean, it was so clearly a Cavalier, ears flying back. And I just laughed out loud that I would see that and that there was this Cavalier looked just like Murphy. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. And yes, we're going to celebrate your life. And isn't that cool? So here's what I wanted to share with you today. If you're wondering if a sign or synchronicity that shows up like a cloud in the shape of a heart, or something that reminds you of your beloved, even a commercial on TV and you reminds you of it, and it makes you laugh and it makes your heart beat a little bit stronger because you remember them and you remember the happy times, then it's awesome. That's exactly what those things are for. That our daily life would remind us of our beloveds and that something would pop in right at the time. If the truth they reveal is comforting to you, that's awesome. Now, this woman was wondering if the heart-shaped cloud in the sky was a cliche. It's not a cliche if it makes you feel better, if it helps heal your broken heart. It's exactly what you needed at that time. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Love your multi-species families. Continue to love them after they die. Let them move on in the afterlife. And take comfort in the signs and synchronicities that show up. That the things that you notice remind you of them. Because that's what they're there for. That's where we get to choose the things that matter in our lives and remember our beloveds. So make sure your only regret on the death of a beloved is that you ran out of time and not love, because of course we're not going to run out of love. And these things that pop up into our lives are reminders that we loved them and they loved us. So Rachel, your heart is in Seattle. Well, you love it here this week. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sheila has a series of questions. And let me see if I can find the beginning of those. Okay, so you've been looking into buying an obsidian scrying glass or crystal ball. So Sheila, the shape of the crystal really doesn't matter. Fallon's in the shape of a crystal ball because no one could handle the energy in his existing shape, which was really long, double and triple terminated, double on one side, triple on the other. And so they decided that the easiest way to sell him was to turn him into a different shape. And so the philosophy or the mindset around crystals is turning a crystal into a ball shape makes the energy move in a different way than it does in a long piece. And I would say the crystals have their own personalities and their energy is going to be whatever their energy is. And the shape doesn't matter. Find a crystal that you're drawn to and work with it, as I have lots of them that aren't crystal balls. So if that's what your question is and that's what you're studying, that would be my solution. So Sheila, you say you're sensitive and you're wary of spirits from past experiences. Tools that will help you. You can wear crystals. A lot of people like black tourmaline. Obsidian can be too strong for some people and kind of knock you off balance. Quartz is always a good protector, or kyanite. Kyanite you can buy tumbled and carry in your pocket. I would put bowls of sea salt around your house, and those are actual physical tools that remind you that you're going to the effort to keep your space energetically clear, and work on your energy boundaries. I have a whole webinar series up on that at the Learn It Live platform. But your energy boundaries are simply there to protect you, to help you experience the world. So work on bringing those together. And I could also help you in a short session. So Cindy, Barbara from Halcyon, California. Oh, I'm glad you're there doing readings. Awesome. Good for you. Elizabeth, I hope I answered your questions about signs or symbols. It's really something that pops up in our daily life that reminds us of our loved ones. You could be thinking about your loved ones and then a commercial pops up on TV for their favorite treat, that kind of thing. But again, the clouds or that I saw, those are also symbols and synchronicities. Cindy, you lost your Schnauzer 6 months ago. You have one still with us. Can they reincarnate into our other Schnauzer? Cindy, I'm going to deal with that question this afternoon on my radio show. So thank you for bringing that up. It's actually a very serious question with very serious ramifications. They could not reincarnate into your other Schnauzer unless the current Schnauzer decided it was done with its body and they made a swap. I do not encourage that. I know some people force it, and I will go into more detail about that this afternoon on my radio show. Actually, one of the reasons why I'm bringing up the subject again today about reincarnation. So, no, but your deceased Schnauzer could simply be there in the space while it gets ready to transition totally to the afterlife, because there's a period in between dying and the actual afterlife where the energies dissipate a little bit so that they're lighter and can move on. And they do come back and visit us all the time, even when we don't know it. So other questions. Seattle's where your heart is, like I said. Beautiful weather. Sheila, I would be, to finish up this, you've been scrying from a young age, you have dreams and premonitions and sensitivity to spirit. I don't know whether that's sensitivity is feeling or energy or seeing them, but that's your intuition wide open. In all of the work that I do in mentoring students, whether they want to do this work professionally or whether they just want to get solid boundaries, is fine-tuning how their intuition works and making sure that they have really strong energy boundaries. And that's where your situation is for you. You are correct to hesitate because any kind of connection to anything, even other people, we need to be careful about our energy boundaries. And Sheila, I don't understand the question about your child. So I don't know what you mean there. Stacy, you're asking, you have a spirit lean on your bed at night checking on me. How do you find out who it is? You could ask them who they are if you can hear them. You can fine-tune your intuition so that you know who they are, or by feeling their energy, you know who they are. But I would ask my spiritual team to surround you and invite them to step aside and help you find out who they are before you continue to allow their presence around you. That's just for your own safety. Michael, I've always believed we're like transmitters and receivers. That's a really good analogy, Michael Murphy. And it's true because that's how our intuition works, and that's how, intuition works for everyone. And it isn't just humans who are intuitive. All of us have intuitive and healing abilities. including our animals, including nature around us. And that exchange of energy during the day is how we connect with each other. Also, how we can get stuck making things up, get stuck with other people's energy around us. Um, so, yes, that's your intuition working and fine tuning something beyond what our physical senses note. So, good thing. Elizabeth, you lost your baby. Are you talking human or animal? But either way, I am so sorry. It is really, really tough. Um, and we're running out of time here, so let me see. Sheila, I honestly, I do these Facebook Lives to support Home Times, to support community and connection, and to give you an idea of what my radio show's coming up. I would urge you to contact me perhaps for a half an hour session so that we can work on your energy boundaries. And you can find me on Facebook at Robin M. Fritz, or the Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz. That's a little bit beyond what our conversation is today. Obsidian is very, very powerful. Crystal can be too powerful for some people, not because you're weak, but just because the energy can be so much different than what you're used to, which is why people kind of move away from it. And okay, do we all have spirits with us? Yeah, Sheila, I would be making sure that you've got some good boundaries. What do I recommend to clear negative energy? Okay, so with that, we're going to end the comments for today. But you are all welcome to send me comments or questions by email at my website, robin@robinfritz.com, or tag me on Facebook at the Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz for questions that I can deal with future Facebook Lives, on my radio show, and of course with personal sessions. So do we all have spirits with us? Lindsay, I'm not sure what you're asking there, but we all have spiritual team members. They're like spirit guides. In some traditions, you might call them like guardian angels. And they're a spiritual support team there to help guide us in our daily life experiences. Other things would be if we have deceased beloveds, they sometimes show up and make themselves known. And sometimes because we're busy, the signs and synchronicities like the heart-shaped cloud or the actual shape of the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel running in the wind that I saw from the airplane, those are very dramatic. They're funny and they're also heartwarming. And those are the kinds of experiences we like to have. And sometimes there are spirits, and I'll actually bring this up coming closer in October, the different kinds of spirits that can be around us and the things that come up in my space clearings. And that's also another radio show coming up. But for today, I want to thank all of you for chiming in and asking questions. If you have more questions, again, contact me on my Facebook page or at my website, robinfritz.com. But for the crystal of the week, and here, Sheila, you might like this. Animals do reincarnate all the time. My current animal family's reincarnated with me several times. Not all animals reincarnate because not all souls reincarnate at the same time. And that's the subject of my radio show this afternoon. So tune in to ohmtimes.com, the Practical Intuitive, at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern. And I have no idea what time that is around the rest of the world. But it will be in the archives for you to access after today, tomorrow. So Labradorite, and Sheila, you might look at this in particular. It's hard to really appreciate Labradorite. Can't say it tonight. Labradorite. Okay, I'll type it up. Some days you just can't say the words, but it's a really beautiful, it looks very dull here, but it's a very, there you can see the back, how shiny it is, and it can have some really bright, beautiful colors. So some deep blues and golds. Labradorite. Okay. Raises your consciousness. It stimulates your intuition and your intuitive abilities. It helps you get rid of fears and insecurities from being disappointed. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for joining us. And it boosts your imagination and help relax you. So I like to keep this. I work with clients with it, but this is a crystal to have around you for really improving and deepening your intuition. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Please join me this afternoon on my radio show at omtimes.com, The Practical Intuitive, 2 o'clock. We're going to be talking about reincarnation, our animal families, what's happening with them, do they reincarnate, why? And I'll have some really, really fun and amazing stories to share with you. One about meeting one of my family's animals reincarnated in a different family. And that happens all the time too. So with that, thank you for joining us. Thanks to Om Times for creating this space for us to work together. You can find me on my website, robinfritz.com. I'm based in Seattle. I work worldwide, personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, space clearing, and past life and between life regression, and a process of clearing that I call soul progression clearing. Helps clear out the blockages or the beings that are affecting us, our thoughts and feelings, and then fill us up with healthy energy. So with that, you can do your own physical healing, spiritual healing, mind, body, and spirit healing by just crossing your hands on your heart and breathing in that healthy, positive energy, inviting the energy from the universe to fill you up. And if you just breathe into the palms of your hands, just feel that air on your palms. Imagine that as healing energy and cross it on the heart. And cross it on your heart again. Elizabeth, all of the information to connect with me is listed at the top of the broadcast there. It's Robin Fritz, ROBYNFRITZ.com. You can also find me on Facebook at The Practical Intuitive, Robin M. Fritz. Thank you for joining us. Peace. Have a great week. We will see you next week. And let me know if you have any other questions. We can address them in future Facebook Lives and on my radio show. Are you talking about me? Thank you. And thanks for joining us. Take care. Bye.